Begin today the Gemara on Daf Nun Amud Aleph, 3 lines from the top of the page. Learning today Agadat, Shkacha Pratis, today's Yutes Kislev. The Alter Rebbe famously said that Reiv Seidus HaTeira Gnuzim Ba. Most secrets of the Torah are hidden in the stories of the Gemara, all the Agadas. So here these are stories in the Gemara. We had the same Gemara basically, or actually some changes in Gemara Ksubis, the famous story about Rabbi Akiva, how he got married and how he became the famous Rabbi Akiva. So the Gemara here tells us the story. Rabbi Akiva iskachisle brate the kalbe savua. Rabbi Akiva, so he got engaged, or really iskachis doesn't just mean engaged, kiddushin, the first stage of marriage, to the daughter of kalbe savua. So what happened? Shama kalbe savua. Kalbe savua heard about this. Adra hana mikol nechaseh. So he made a neder that his daughter should not be able to have any benefit of any of his properties, his possessions. He was extremely, extremely rich. And he was upset that his daughter is getting married to this simple shepherd, which what Rabbi Akiva was at that point. Azla, but nevertheless, she went, and she got married to him. And the girsa we have here in the Gemara is Besisva, in the winter this was. But in other places it says, in Ksubis it says Besisra, or in Ksubis it says Betzina. He got married to him quietly, against the father's will. So what happened? Havagonu Beitivna, they were sleeping at night. They didn't have proper place to sleep. They had nothing for themselves, and they were sleeping on this straw. And Havakamanketle Tivna min Mazye, according to the Girsa we have here in the Gemara. So the Gemara is saying that Rabbi Akiva would have to pick out the pieces of straw that were stuck in his wife's hair. Or according to another Girsa, it was the opposite, that she was taking out the pieces of straw of his hair. So Bekitza, they were living very, very poor. Allah, so he said to his wife, if I would have money, Raminalech Yerushalayim Dedava, I would give you a golden Yerushalayim. The Gemara mentions this in a few places. This is a very, very expensive ornament that is made like a golden Yerushalayim. And it actually, he brings there Taka that later, the Gemara in Shabbos says that Rabbi Akiva actually made this for his wife. As we'll see soon, Rabbi Akiva eventually became extremely, extremely rich. Also Eliyahu came to them. Idmilu ka'anosha, and Eliyahu appeared to them like a human being. He wanted to make them feel good. So what did he do? The kakari above, he was knocking on their door. Amalu, and he said to them, Hoveli portu de tivne, could I have a little bit of your straw? The yaldus itzi, my wife gave birth. Velesli midam laguna, I have nothing to put on the baby. So Amalu Rabbi Akiva, so Rabbi Akiva says to his wife, to say to his wife, look, Chazi, Gavra, this is an individual, that filativne la. He doesn't even have any straw either. So in other words, feel good that what we have more than someone else. So what happened? Amr Alei, she says to Rabbi Akiva, Zil Havi Beirav, go learn Torah in the yeshiva. This was actually the deal that they made in the beginning. She said, if you in the Gemara Ksubis it says that she only married him because he agreed to go and learn Torah. So Ozal, he went and have a tarte sorishnin. For 12 years he went to learn Torah. Where? Kamed Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. By Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yeshua. L'mishlim tarte sorishnin. When the 12 years are up, ka'asal abeise. He was coming back home. And the Gemara in Ksubah says he was coming home and he was being followed by 12,000 students. Shama, so as he approached his home, he heard Menachayre Beise from inside his home, from the other side of the door. He hears a conversation that his wife is having with some individual. The Kamal Echad Roshel de Bisu, some wicked man is telling his wife, Shapir Ovid lehavuch. Your father was right. Your father did right when he said you shouldn't have any anah from his possessions. You did such a foolish thing to marry this man. Chada, number one, the Leidamilech. Because he's not on your level, he doesn't have the same yichas as you, he's not as rich as you. Why did he marry him? And va'oid, and also look what happened to you. Shavkech armalus chayis. He left you like an almana, a live almana, meaning he's alive, and he left you here alone. Kulishan in all these years. Amr Alei, he hears his wife. She responded to this man, and she said to him, Itzois lidili, if he would listen to me, I made up with him that he's coming home after 12 years, but let him stay and learn Torah for another 12 years. So Amar Rabbi Akiva said to himself, since she gave me permission, let me go back. And he went back to learn Torah. All right, we learned this is in the sugya of Ksubis. It came up over there where the Gemara was discussing how long a person should leave his wife for, and if he needs permission from his wife or not. So that's where the Gemara is. So over here, he got permission, so he says he turned around. Alright, so here there's the famous vart that the Welt says, why didn't he at least knock on the door and say hello to his wife? He's right there. Elamai, the answer is, if you make a hefsek in between, the first 12 years, the other 12 years, they don't combine together. You want it to be straight learning Torah without a break in between. So he went back to learn Torah. It was another 12 years. Now he arrived back home. He came home with 24,000 zugim of talmidim. In Ksubas it doesn't say the word zugim. Zugim means that peers, which means that it was really 48,000. Right? That's what it sounds like. Or it's 24,000, which they were made up of peers of students. That's how they were paired up with each other. Either way, everybody sees this great Rebbe coming with so many people. Everyone went out to greet him. His wife came out, also got up to go and greet him. And she was there, pushing between the crowd, trying to get to her husband. So this wicked man tells her, where are you pushing yourself to? She says, the tzaddik knows the soul of his behemoth. She was hinting to herself, she was saying, he knows how much I gave up for him to be able to go and learn Torah. She wanted to come and appear to him, to Rabbi Akiva. The Rabbanan, the students, they were all pushing her away. Rabbi Akiva said to all of them, leave her, shali, v'shalachem, my Torah, and her Torah, shalahu. It's all her Torah. Because she's the one that gave up everything. She's the one actually that got him from becoming a shepherd and made up with him that he would go learn Torah, and she allowed him to go and learn. It's all hers. Shama Kalba Savua, when Kalba Savua heard about what happened, that his son-in-law, Rabbi Akiva, became such a great Rebbe, so also he came, v'itchel al nidrei. So he requested a heter for his nether, to dissolve his nether. V'ishterei, or v'ishteri, Gairis over it says in the Gemara twice these words, and some take out this extra word, v'ishterei, and they were mater his nether. Yeah, so what happened then when he was mater his neder? So he shared a lot of his money with his son-in-law, Rabbi Akiva. So Rabbi Akiva now became very rich. And the Gemara in connection to this says, Minshis mili iyate Rabbi Akiva. From 6 different things, Rabbi Akiva became extremely rich. One is min kalba savua. Kalba savua, his father-in-law, that gave him his money. And the other one is min ilah disfinta. From this ilah, ilah is a ram. What is it? A hart or a ram. Okay, that they would make this box that was like in the shape of this ram that they would put on the boat. The cholsvinte of Denley min eina, in all boats they would have this box that was made in this shape, and they would put valuables when they would travel and would go on a journey. They would put all their valuables and their money into this box. Zimnu so one time an shiyua kef yama, the people of the boat forgot and left this box. When it was in this shape, they left it there by the shore. Also, Rabbi Akiva came ashkeche, and he found it, and he became rich from this. Another thing also, min gavza, similar thing. Gavza is also a box. Also, this box that they had on the boats that people used to keep their valuables in there. The Zim Chada one time, he was on a boat, Rabbi Akiva, and Yav Arba Zuzil Isfunoi, he gave 4 zuzim to the captains on the ship, and he said to them, Aisili midam, here, bring me something. They found nothing to bring him. Ela gavza al keif yama. They found this box that was lying by the shore. Asiule, they brought him this box. They didn't realize what they're bringing him. Amrulei, they said to him, Ovid marana alea, that wait for us until we'll find something valuable. So you gave us money to bring you something. Right now, all we have is this box. But then the shtakach, it came out. To have a mali dindre, the mali dindre. It was full of coins. What happened? Where was this box from? Why was it full of coins? The zimnu chada tavas finte. Once a boat sank, and v'kule iske, all of the money and all of the valuables of the people of that boat have a machas pau gavsa. They put it into this box. And v'shtakach, and it came out that Bahu Zimna in that time the min destruktie, that this was a boat from destruktie, which Rashi or the Mefarish says, or maybe the Ran says this was from merchants, Arab merchants that were traveling on a boat, and it sank, and all the valuables were here in this thing, and it came to who? To Rabbi Akiva. Okay, another place he became rich from, a fourth place he became rich from, in Matrunise, from this noble woman. The Gemara doesn't bring the story here, but the Ran and the Mefarish bring the story Barichis. And the story basically was that this noble woman, she came to Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Akiva had to borrow money from her. And she said that, who's going to guarantee that you pay me back? So Rabbi Akiva said to her, I'm going to borrow money from you, and the Eibishter and the Yam, the ocean. They'll be the guarantors that will pay back. Came the time for Rabbi Akiva to pay, and he was sick. He couldn't go pay her. So she turns to the Eibishter and she says, you're the guarantor. So you pay me back the money that Rabbi Akiva borrowed. What happens? She's standing there by the water, and all of a sudden, this big box, a chest full of money and precious gems, comes out of the water. What happened? So the Ran says that punkt at that time. So the princess from the king, she lost her mind, and she took a big chest of precious gems and money and threw it into the water. And it swam up to the shore, and this noble woman received it, and she got paid back. And so Rabbi Akiva, when he got well again, he wanted to come pay up the loan that he borrowed. She says to him, don't worry, your guarantor's long paid it up already. And not only that, there's extra money here, and the extra, this is really for you, take the extra money. So he got rich from this as well. The fifth thing he got rich from was the wife of Turnus Rufus, which was a big Rasha, and he was one of the ministers in the Roman ministers. And Rabbi Akiva would always debate with Turnus Rufus. This is where the Ranavir brings the story. He would debate with him, and he would get very annoyed by Rabbi Akiva. And his wife says to him one day, I'll go and take care of Rabbi Akiva. I'll cause Rabbi Akiva to do an Aveda. She went and adorned herself beautifully. She stood in front of Rabbi Akiva. So the Ran says what happened. Rabbi Akiva saw her. Rabbi Akiva first spat on the ground, and then he cried, and he laughed. So she asked him, what's this? Why are you spitting? Why are you crying? Why are you laughing? So Rabbi Akiva says, I'll tell you why I'm spitting, because you come from a tippas rucha, like it says in the Mishnah in Pirkei Yavis, from where you come from. And I'll tell you why I'm crying, because of this beauty that will, where are you going? To l'makim afarim v'selei, you're going to be buried. So there's not this ball from her beauty at all. But then why did he laugh? He didn't tell her. But then she asked him, after she heard what Rabbi Akiva said, she asked him, can I ever do tshuva? So Rabbi Akiva says, yes. In the end, she became a Giyaitis, and Rabbi Akiva ended up marrying her. So Omen HaShamayim. And then when he married her, all of the money that she had, the riches from her husband, from the minister, it all went over to Rabbi Akiva. So he became rich from this.
So he had two wives?
Yeah, of course. Why not? In those times, yeah.
No, the first wife
and then, On min K'tiyah bar Shalem. And also, he became rich from K'tiyah bar Shalem. What's the story of K'tiyah bar Shalem? So this is Arichas story in the Gemara Avodah Zarah. The Ran doesn't bring here the whole story, but the point of the story basically was this K'tiyah bar Shalem was also a minister over there by the Romans, and he said something against the king. He actually said it in defense of the Yidden. So the king said that he has to die, and they were taking him out to kill him, and he said that he's giving away all his money to the Yidden. And Rabbi Akiva got all the money of K'tiyah bar Shalem. So Rabbi Akiva became very rich. Let's continue the Gemara. The Gemara brings a similar story that happened to Rav Gamde. Rav Gamde Yoev Dalit Zuzi L'Sfunoi. Rav Gamde once gave 4 coins to the captains of the ship. La Suya B'ai Midon. And he said, bring me something for the value of this money. La Ashkecha. They didn't find anything to bring him. So what did they find? Asiyu lay behind Koifa. They bought him a monkey. Okay, what is he going to do with a monkey? Ishtamit, the monkey flew out, jumped out of his hands. And where did it go? All lacharsa. It went into this hole. Chafru basrei. So they chased it, and they went to dig and to get the monkey out of that hole. What did they find there in that hole? Ashkachua, the reviyar malgilaisa. So they found the monkey was sitting or lying on top of precious gems, or lying on top of pearls. Aisinule kula, and they brought it all to Rabbi Akiva. And this is not Rabbi Akiva, this is Rav Gamda. And he became rich from this. And the Mefarshim actually say that what they did when they brought him all these coins or these pearls, it was Lefnim Shura Sadin. They could have kept part for themselves, or at least half for themselves. But they brought it all to Rav Gamda. Amr lei bas Kaisel Rabbi Shua ben Chananya. The daughter of the Caesar said to Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, we had this also in the Gemara, this is a Gemara in Tainus, a very similar Gemara. Taira mufuara, such a beautiful Taira that you learn, that you have. The Kli mechuar is such an ugly vessel, because Rabbi Shua ben Chananya was had a dark complexion. That's what some say. Taisvus, I think, says that. So he was, others say that he wasn't beautifully adorned. He didn't wash himself and dress very properly like a nobleman. So she wanted to know why aren't you presenting yourself beautifully if you have Torah? Amalei. So he answered her and said, "Look, limni mi beis avuch. Why don't you learn from your own father's house? And what is the wine placed? Amalei. So she says, b'mani de pachre, in earthenware vessels. Amallah. So he answers her and says, kula alma b'pachre. Everybody else places the wine into earthenware vessels. But for atum b'mana de pachra, you're also going to place it in such earthenware vessels by the king. It should be placed in the more expensive vessels. Atum achisim b'mani de kaspa odava. You should place your wine in silver vessels or in gold vessels. Ozlis, so she went, this princess went, v'ramis chamre b'mani de kaspa v'davish. You're right. So she put the wine into these silver and gold vessels. What happened? Visari, the wine spoiled. It doesn't keep the wine well in these vessels. Amar Allah. So now he said to her, Afay Raisa came. The Torah is the same thing. That the Torah is kept in a vessel like this, like myself, even though I look ugly to you. So Rashi actually in Taina says that the pshat in the what does this mean? That the more humble a person is, the more of a keli he is to Torah. You don't become a keli for Torah by beautifying yourself and by feeling yourself. Adarabah, by being mevatli yourself through bittul. Right? This is connected to Yutes Kislev. Especially we're talking over here about the wine of Torah. Right? As we learned in the Maimer, the wine of Torah is the razon da'iraisa, the secrets of Torah, which you take out of the grapes that are hidden inside the grapes. So in order to be a keli to Torah, especially to the secrets of Torah, what's the ingredient that you need? Bittul, to annul yourself, to be an empty vessel, to be able to contain. Even over here, he was ugly. In other words, he didn't sense himself at all, and he's able to be a keli to the secrets of Torah. So, but she continued and asked him, but there are people that are beautiful and good looking, and still they learn Torah. Amallah, so he said to her, if they would be like me, not good looking, and they would have more bittul, so then they would actually be able to learn even more. She came in front of Rav Yehuda from Nerda Ledina for a din Torah. And what happened? And she lost it in Torah. Turned out that she was obligated to pay money. And she was upset about this. So she says to Rav Yehuda, Shmuel Rabbach, Shmuel your teacher, Hachi Dana? He would paskin like this as well? Amar Allah, so he says to her, Yadisle, do you know who Shmuel was? Amar Allah, so she said, yes, I knew him. Gutze, he was short. V'rabe kreise, and he had a fat stomach. Uchem, and he was dark. And v'rabe shine, he had big teeth. That's how she describes Shmuel. Amar Allah, so he says to this woman, Levzuye kases, you came to embarrass Shmuel. Right? So in other words, it looks like this is a little connected to the story before regarding Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, that the fact that he was ugly was really an expression of his bittul to the Eibishter. He didn't sense himself at all. So if the same was true about Shmuel, but she was saying this and she was embarrassing Shmuel. So Rav Yehuda said, "Tehevi ahi itze b'shamta." This woman should be excommunicated. So what happened? As soon as Rav Yehuda said that, Paka umesa, she burst and she died. Okay, going back to the story in the Mishnah, or the halacha in the Mishnah. What did it say in the Mishnah? That the person that says that he's not going to eat a tafshel, so he's not allowed to eat any kinds of food that are cooked, that's eaten together with bread. Right? And therefore it said that's only softer foods that you usually eat together with bread, not like a thick porridge. Then the Mishnah said, Umutta bebeitza turmita. You're allowed to eat a beitza turmita, some kind of an egg that's cooked in a certain way. So what is this? My beitza turmita. Shmuel says, Avda to Ovidle. If you have a servant that knows how to prepare this kind of an egg, Shafi Alfi Dinri. He's very valuable servant. He's worth thousands of dinrim. Now what do? How do you prepare this egg? So ma'ayala alfa zimni b'maya chamimi. First you have to cook it 1,000 times in hot water. And then v'alfa zimni b'maya kriri. And 1,000 times you take it from the hot water and you put it into the cold water. At the midzut zutre. That this egg then becomes, it shrinks, so you could swallow it all at once, and the egg goes down like this. And what happens is, what's the benefit of this egg? Vim is kiba, if the person has some kind of a wound inside his intestinal tract, So what happens is, sarach Allah, it grabs on a piece of that wound that he has inside his stomach, and v'kadnaf gevasya, and then when he relieves himself and this comes out, yada asya, so now the doctor could know my samim is boile. You can see from the nature of this wound that comes out what kind of medicine does he need in order to heal himself. Ubemai mitzi, and with what is he going to be healed? Yeah, it's interesting. This is what they used to do amal in order to get out before they had all the technology to be able to. So they were able to see what's going on inside. Shmuel have a badik nafshei bekulcha. Shmuel he would also inspect himself when he had an ailment and he wanted to see what's going on inside. He used a kulcha, which is similar to this kind of an egg here, that he was able to eat it and then it would come out and it would bring out a certain part of the wound to see what it is. And when he would eat this, it was something that was so painful and he would mamish faint from this. The people in his house, they would tear their hairs out of their head, or if they had braided hair, they would be pulling their hair and take out the braids from their hairs from hearing Shmuel, the pain that he had when he would have to do this in order to go through this procedure. Tanan Asam, we learned in the Mishnah in Masechta Maasros. This Mishnah there discusses the halacha. It says in the pasuk in the Torah that a person, while he's working in the field, so he's allowed to eat from the fruits in the field. So the Mishnah there says, beklufsin or beklusfin, if he's doing work with these figs, specific kind of figs, so he's allowed to eat from those kinds of figs that he's working with, but from b'nai sheva, which is a different type of figs, he's not allowed to eat from them. He's only allowed to eat from the kind that he's working with. But b'nai sheva, working with figs that are b'nai sheva, he shouldn't eat from the klufsin. That's the halacha that the Mishnah says. So Gemara asks, my klufsin, what are these klufsin? Mina de teina, it's a kind of figs, the avdim menhain lafti. They make from it a nice cooked dish from it. Hu gavre, there was this individual, the Yov Avdul Chavre, that he sold his servant for his friend. And what was the deal? Why is he selling him to his friend? Lagmure alfa mina lafte, that he should teach his master how to cook 1,000 different types of dishes. What happened? Agmire tmani meya. So he only taught his master how to cook 800 different types of dishes. So azmine ledina. So he got an invite to come to a din Torah. That you sold me this Eved and he didn't teach me everything that you said he knows to do. He only taught me 800 out of 1,000. So they came to the din Torah where l'kamei de Rebbe, to Rebbe. Amar Rebbe said, Aviseinu Amru, our fathers told us, our fathers that were still in the time of the Beis HaMikdash, they told us, Nashinu Teva, we forgot all the good different delicacies and dishes that we knew that we used to be known how to cook. Anu, Rebbe says, and us, we never heard of it. We never saw all these dishes that they used to eat once upon a time. They had then in Eretz Yisrael such good geshmaka, delicious fruits, so on. So it looks like Rebbe was trying to say that he doesn't owe you anything for the fact that he didn't teach you everything that they made up he's going to teach you, because we know, you should have known, you should have expected that he's not going to be able to teach you all these dishes, because we don't even know this today anymore. Rebbe Avedle Hilule Rab Shimon Berebbe, or others are great to say Rab Shimon Berei. Rebbe was made a chassan, he married off his son Rab Shimon. Kasav al Beis Ginena, he wrote like a sign on the house that was made for the chuppah, or the chuppah actually means the place where the chassan and kala spend time there. So again, wedding hall. Okay. Esrin varba alfen riboyin dinni nafka Beis Ginena dain. 24 tens of thousands, it really means million, 24 million dinrim is what was spent for this chassan here. 240 million. Huh? 240 million it says there? 240 million. Okay, so I got the number wrong. Unbelievable. Why is he putting up this sign? To let everyone know how expensive this chassan is. 240 million. So again, Okay, so there's obviously some great significance to this number, 24 million, 2,400 million, whatever it is. 240 million, sorry. So, but the Gemara says, he didn't invite Bar Kapara to the chasana. Why didn't he invite Bar Kapara? So it doesn't say here. But Bar Kapara, it says in other places, he was a batchen, and he didn't want him to be there, the batchen by the chasana. He didn't invite him. A batchen, or a person that... gesture. Jester, sorry. And he didn't want... I saw that some say he didn't invite him to the chasana. Oh, here, the Mefarish says it over here. Right? That's the reason why I didn't invite him. He didn't want him to do his jokes. Amalei, so Bar Kapara said about this chasana, Im lo oivre ritzaynei kach, that if, look, the Eibusha gives so much goodness in this world for those that are being over on the Eibusha's will, most definitely those that are doing Hashem's will, how much more so, the Eibusha will give them all the good when Mashiach comes. Alright, so simply he was sort of speaking negatively about what Rebbe has over here, because he wasn't invited. Azmene. So then Rebbe did go ahead and invite Bar Kapara to the Chasana. Omar. So now he said, if for the ones that do Hashem's will in this world have so much abundance of good, kach, so how much more so in the world to come they will have so much more goodness. The Marsha actually says that even in the beginning, when he said kach, he wasn't chas v'shalom referring to Rebbe as Oivre Ritzaynei. What he was saying was, if we see in this world that Oivre Ritzaynei have so much good, and also Oivre Ritzaynei do, so how much more so Oivre Ritzaynei when Mashiach comes. In other words, he wasn't trying to speak chas v'shalom negative against Rebbe, but he was trying to get Rebbe's attention in order to get invited to this chasana, and he got invited. Okay. Agut Yantiv.